What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I decided to make part 2 of the Harry Potter questions you asked me on TikTok today because I took a shower yesterday, so I thought that was a special occasion that deserved a video. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe because it helps me a whole bunch. Now, let's get to the action. Starting with the first question by XX Ravenclaw Scorpio XX, the saddest death. Kind of touches on this in the last video, but I would definitely say Snape's is the hardest for me to watch, but the one that just hits me in the gut cinematography-wise is Tonks and Lupin, because they're freaking reaching their hands to each other. Like, okay, like, let's all just sob together. Next is C. Ursula Sings. Who would Ron have dated if Harry dated Hermione? So this is an interesting question. When I was little, I definitely thought that Harry and Hermione were endgame. So I don't know, honestly, I think that he would have found someone in the Quidditch field or the sports arena. I do see how him and Hermione balance each other out well, but if she was off the table, I think he would have found someone who, like, had some of his same, hobbies, because he's not much of a reader, and that's okay. Catherine123X, why didn't someone fix Harry's eyesight with magic? I think about this too. From what I've seen, body modification is trickier with spells. It tends to be a potion that you have to use in order to do long-term body modification. So I think it has something to do with that, in addition to there being like rules about body modification. I don't think it's as simple as like you can just do whatever you want. I think that magic even does have its own limits, like kind of how you can't wish for someone to come back from the dead with the genie and Aladdin. I think there's things like that, you know what I'm saying? Because why would he want to wear the glasses? Although, honestly, maybe he was just like, this is my trademark, this is my thing, I'm just gonna wear glasses now. We don't know. Next one, FemXX, do you ship Drarry? Like, personally, it's not like my OTP, but I totally see how people would think that they would be a cute couple because, I mean, the angst of it all. We've seen many a TikTok with angst where Drarry is the main couple. Amy Cole, what do you think of Order of the Phoenix? It's personally my least favorite book just because you've got angsty Harry just being so over the top, and like, I understand a good angst, but it's just so whiny. And look, I understand he's freaking 11, and well, not in this one, but since he's 11, he's just been this little pawn for Dumbledore, and I understand why he has a lot of emotions, okay, but it's just not fun to read someone whining all the time, you know what I mean? Like, those are just my thoughts. Girl on the Moon, least and most favorite books and films. Oh my gosh, what segue who? Favorite movie is for sure the first one, just because like I love the ambiance and the innocence of remembering that I watched that movie every time I went to bed when I was little, when I was like 7 and it came out, and it's just colorful and it's not all freaking blue and gray like the rest of the movies, which that's one of my pet peeves that they made that choice. And I would say my least favorite movie is the third one because it's my favorite book, and I just don't think they did service to it at all. And it's when they start doing all the artsy like blue and gray and like we're so edgy, like no. And least favorite book, Order of the Phoenix, because just whiny Harry, and I just can't. And obviously I'm gross too, so whatevs. Megan XOX12, a ship that doesn't make sense to you. I once saw someone ship Snape with McGonagall, and I was like, ewy, yucky, gross. Like, no thank you. Like, and look, I know age gap relationships are a thing. I just don't think that they would ever be compatible in a romantic sense at all. So it's a no from me. Brianna.m23, do you ship Drarry? Kind of mentioned that already. Grace Haven 35, do you hate movie 5 as much as I do? I don't hate movie 5, again, because I didn't like the books, so I think my standards were kind of like low. I like where you have, the Weasley twins getting back and Umbridge and some of the more delicate moments like that, but all in all, it's, and no, I could take it or leave it. It doesn't really do anything for me. Cash the kind of world guy. I don't know if I messed that up. If I did, I'm sorry. Cash the Girl, opinions on the bad characters / Death Eaters. Oh, okay. So for me, it's really a double-edged sword because hashtag daddy issues. So I really like the bad boys. So like Draco, yes. Lucius, yes. Snape, yes. Like we stan. But then in my opinion, like the bad guys are like Umbridge, Dumbledore, Pettigrew. Like those are the trash characters. So in terms of like Death Eaters in general, I think there's some really terrible ones, like I think like Nott is really bad, Avery, like you've got some really, really bad ones. and they're trash in general, but then you've got the really interesting ones that really add a lot of flavor to the book. So it's kind of, you get one or the other. It's Basilisks, Remedora or Wolfstar? I love making Wolfstar content. It's super fun, but I think personally, like, I really like Remedora. They're very cute. And I also think that, like, maybe they could be a throuple. We don't know. I'm not opposed to that idea. I just really like Remedora, and I think they have a very cute relationship. Rap Goat Nixie, worst thing left out of the movie. So I touched on this in my last video, the first part of the questions. One of my favorite moments in the books, if not my favorite moment, is when Sirius sends the letter to Harry when he's on Hogwarts Express and Ron gets Pidgeywidgeon. And that letter just made me cry and was so heartfelt. And they left it out of the freaking movie, which I think is another reason that I'm really salty about Prisoner of Azkaban in the movie. But it's fine, we're not salty. We're very salty. Hermione, the Ravenclaw 3, fave canon Harry Potter couple. Probably Remedora. Like, they're just cute. They're cute and they're a little edgy. There's a little spice with the werewolves and like her sass, and we love that. And we love the accepting and the age gap and all of that. Like, I think they're really cute. I stand. Charlie Sowers, what do you think of the fourth book? I like the fourth book. I think I get a little biased when it comes to it because back in the day they used to play the fourth movie on ABC Family all the time. So I think that kind of like tainted the fourth book for me too, but I definitely think that it's entertaining and it keeps my attention. But I think part of me is still just salty because they would always play the fourth movie on ABC Family. Let me know if that happened to you too. Like, anytime there was a Harry Potter weekend, like, it would just always be the fourth movie was on. Or like, if they were just showing one of them, it was always the fourth. I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but let me know if that happened to you too. Slitherclaw 08, if you had to make a Horcrux, what would it be? Okay, hear me out. I have two ideas about this. Because the one side says make it like a grain of sand, no one would ever find it. But then if it has to be something that's like, meaningful, then I would just find like a shell that I collected with my mom, because I love collecting shells and stones, and then make it that and then throw it into the ocean. Or make it a brick at Disney World because I love Disney, and then like, how are you gonna find one single brick at Disney World? You know what I mean? Thinking, like, I think that he made some really obvious ones, and so that's why I'm like, I don't know if you're Slytherin because you didn't really think that out very much. Ebola Cat, fave character, I was just gonna say other than Snape, I can't remember. Other than my crushes. Other than like, I don't know, I wouldn't say I have a crush on Hermione, so I'm gonna probably have to say Hermione. Because she's just so powerful and smart, and like, she finally made it cool to be like the book nerd. I mean, Belle kind of did that before, but they're cartoons, so I feel like people didn't take it as seriously. So I related to her. So I would have to say she's my favorite because as a young kid, I was like, oh, see, reading is fun. Elena Hernandez, 652, Snape or Draco? Snape, but we love Draco too. Like, we love Snape, Lucius, Draco, Lupin. Like, we love them all. Yeehitos, what do you think of Harry and Hermione? So I kind of touched on that again. When I was younger, I thought that they were endgame. Like, I thought for sure that that's who was going to end up together, but now I've read more explanations from you guys actually about why you think Ron and Hermione are a cute couple, and now I get it more. I don't think that Hermione really works well with him just because she needs intellectual stimulation and he doesn't really offer that. He's more of the jock, you know what I mean? So I don't really think it would work. Voldy's Gone Moldy, thoughts on Hermione or Snermione? So Hermione, I think it's great. There's a lot of really well-written fics about Hermione, and I think that it could totally work because Draco would need someone who's intellectual and who could see past black and white and see that there are shades of gray in things, and that he wasn't like the bad guy, and she would understand, I think, from an intellectual level. Plus, he was second in the class behind Hermione, so he was really bright, so he could intellectually stimulate her, which we stand. I definitely would say it's one of my favorite fanfics to read, if not, yeah, definitely one of my favorites. And then Snermione, I've read some good fics with Snermione where it's legal and they're both adults. So I think they're good too. If I had to pick, probably Hermione, just because it's more practical. Like, I think they really could have worked well together, which I know is going to make a lot of Drarry people upset. Opinion of Flora Delacour, I think this is by OK Potter. I think she's great. I think she gets like really heavy-handed. Like, people give her a lot of flack. I don't really care about her one way or the other. She's definitely more of like a throwaway character for me, which I feel bad about saying. I relate to her more now because I'm planning a wedding in the middle of this pandemic, and it's not exactly what I would have planned, and she had to deal with her wedding being ruined. I know they're not the same thing at all, and it's a very first world problem, But so now I kind of relate to her more. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel one way or the other about her. An opinion of the Goblet of Fire movie. I kind of touched on that. Like the whole it was always playing all the time. And last one, of all of the TikTok questions, I've now answered all the ones that I got. Oompa Loompa number 1000. What happened to Lockhart after the 5th book? And then are Portkeys by touch or time? So what I think happened to Lockhart, and forgive me if they say this in the books and I just don't remember it, but like my thought is that I like to think that maybe he got together with some of the other patients at St. Mungo's and like started writing about their experiences, or like maybe used their talents to do something good for like mental health and trauma and everything. I like to think that that's what happened. As far as Portkeys, I think that there's actually like a sensor that takes like your fingerprints or like actually knows the wizard, and there's more to it than just time or place. Just because they're so delicate and such specific kind of magic, I think it would be kind of dumb if it was as simple as just like, okay, this boot's here, anyone can touch it. So I hope you guys liked that little Q&A. I definitely want to do 1,000 subscriber celebration because we just passed that. Very exciting, but I don't know what to do yet. So if you have any ideas for that, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe because it helps me a whole bunch. Subscribe.